What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics. Of course, the week that I am out of town at New York City Comic Con is the week that the grading wars truly begin. CSG dropped prices this week, or at least did a temporary 20% discount at the very beginning of the week. PSA comes out with their new pricing, and what literally felt like minutes later. I posted the PSA video yesterday, walked out of the hotel room, and then Peter came in and said, "Not so fast, my friends. Here's our new pricing, too." Now, I have a fun tinfoil hat theory about this that we'll get to in a minute, but let's run through the details here really quickly. So, what SGC has rolled out? First off, $1,500 declared value, and then it kind of tiers from there depending on how many cards you are sending in. So $1,500 DV, 1 to 9 cards, $24. 10 to 19 cards, $22. 20 to 49 cards, $20. 50 plus, $18. And then obviously group submitters will vary a little bit from there. So we'll just run with 18 as what the pricing is for 50 cards or more. Turnaround times, 5 to 10 business days. So pretty quick on the turnaround times, assuming they can hold to that. So they have now come out with their pricing. PSA has now come out with their pricing. CSG has updated their pricing. Beckett had the little 20% sale thing going, but we'll see if they make any more larger adjustments. So, we've been talking about, should SGC lower? What are they going to do? When are they going to lower? Pretty nice pricing here out of them. Pretty aggressive pricing out of them with $18 at the floor. I do believe a lot of their business comes from group submitters, so most people will probably be shooting for that $18 per card. But even at the $24 to $22 per card, say you can wrap together 10 cards pretty easily to send on your own, that is not too bad of a price for the turnaround time. So essentially how this is kind of boiled out, and once I'm back home, we'll do a deeper kind of like state of the grading type situation. Basically where we're at right now is, PSA is your king resale value. SGC is your king turnaround time for the sports card side of things. Beckett is their little niche stuff there, and CSG is their little niche stuff there. Now, I personally prefer CSG for PC stuff because I think they have the best slab, but resale value is still a little meh on them. The other thing that I need to do is we need to dig in and look at recent comps on stuff and kind of break that down as well and see if anyone has closed the gap on anything or if it's still, kind of PSA with about a 40% lead on pretty much everybody else. But pricing continues to come down. And I think SGC will sit at these numbers for probably at least the rest of the year and kind of see what happens. The biggest key for SGC by far is turnaround times. That's what they are leveraging everything on, is we will get cards back to you fast. Now, if they ever get too cheap that they get too many cards in the door, that may cause a problem where they have to slow things down again. I don't know that I personally see that happening. I think Peter has a very good grasp on the number of cards coming in and the number of cards going out, what they can process, and kind of where to price to kind of balance all that. So I think they can maintain at least pretty good turnaround times. I'm not saying you're going to get things back in a day like people were for a little bit over the summer there, but I think even 5 to 10 business days is still pretty fast. The trick is does PSA ever get their turnaround times even more manageable? Ultra modern bulk orders are moving through PSA at about a little around 60-ish days. It is a little all over the place. And people with stuff in, which I did confirm in comments yesterday, people with things from pre the 80s, basically, their orders are taking longer. which does lead me to believe that there's probably less graders grading that stuff compared to the ultra-modern stuff, probably because the new graders get thrown on the ultra-modern stuff first before they kind of open themselves up to the older stuff. So SGC's biggest advantage by far, though, is the turnaround times, and their other side advantage is the declared value thing, because they have a $1,500 declared value, whereas PSA tiers out much, much lower. You're talking about a $200 declared value on their $18 bulk cards, and then you're getting up into the $30 and $50 card range pretty quickly. I will be very curious to see PSA wise, and maybe we'll dive into this more when we do like a state of the grading thing or predictions for things to go wrong. I almost wonder if the next lever that PSA pulls is to bring economy and regular service down. Those are 30 and 50 a card, and now that suddenly feels pretty high with this new SGC pricing. I have a feeling PSA will want to kind of see how the $18 stuff rolls in, and then maybe pull some levers and say, okay, let's take economy down to 25 and regular down to, I don't know, 35 or 40 or something like that, to kind of tighten up the pricing bands on the declared value ranges. I would really love to see PSA kind of rejigger the whole thing when it comes to their pricing structure and declared value structure, but that's a conversation for another day. So Peter has come in off the top rope and said, here we are, $18 a card at the group submission or bulk submission level with a 5 to 10 day business turnaround time. Does that move the needle for you all? I feel like the people that are already subbing with SGC are, nothing's going to change with any of this stuff. In fact, they'll probably see a little bump, because I know a lot of people, the commentary and a lot of the SGC groups and stuff is I have cards I would like to send, but I do not want to send them at $30 per card. They're just not at that level. So this will open themselves up to start getting that work in. Does this, so my true question here is, if you were prepping an $18 PSA order with the announcement yesterday, does this move the needle for you, or are those cards going to PSA regardless, and you don't care about the, we'll call it their stated, 90-day turnaround time or whatever? I have a feeling it'll end up being faster than that. But those cards that if you're sending cards in at $18, and let's say you're playing fast and loose with declared value a little bit, because that's the other kind of wild card here. Are you sending at PSA at 18, or are you now switching to SGC at 18 and get them back in 5 or 10 days? Neither answer is wrong. Maximizing the value on the submission is perfectly acceptable sending to PSA. Leveraging the fast turnaround times, even though you're going to potentially take a little less profit on the slab itself, but you get your money back quicker and able to redeploy it into the market faster to buy the next thing and rinse and repeat. We did that video on that a while back. Is 100% a play with SGC. The other interesting thing here, and once again, we'll talk about this more in like a state of the grading thing. Now that prices continue to come down and we're at $18, how do the micro companies handle this? Those are the ones that I think have the biggest issues when it comes to pricing, because they do not have the economies of scale that the other companies do. I won't name any names, but you could run through probably about 5 different random 3-letter acronym pop-up grading companies. Now, in the past, we had GMA. They were always able to do their thing, but there was way less competition then. So them, putting along, doing their thing back, pre-hobby boom, they were probably getting enough business to be sustainable, obviously, because they've been around for a long time. But now it's fractured. One, there's way more pop-up grading companies than there's ever been. Plus, CSG's on the marketplace now. They weren't in the past. And SGC has kind of established themselves as an ultra-modern grader, which prior to the hobby boom, they were mostly vintage stuff. So the quick tinfoil hat thing I wanted to mention, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up. There's been some chatter going around. I've heard it in multiple different places that PSA got wind of, and once again, this is pure tinfoil hat. This is pure rumor territory. That PSA got a hold of or found out about SGC's price decrease was being announced this morning or yesterday morning. And they hurried up and threw out the $18 bulk, $15 TCG special. Normally, I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock in the tinfoil hat brigade, but I think I believe it on this one because their rollout was kind of weird. It was just an Instagram video. It popped up on the submission page hours before it actually showed up on their pricing page, which all makes me think that this was very last minute. Like someone found out, Peter's doing his thing tomorrow. Let's get ours out there first. And then it looks like Peter's reacting to us when in reality, we're just, Han shoots first, pulling the blaster out and firing away before they get their announcement off to, I don't want to say steal thunder or whatever, but look like we are not the ones reacting to SGC. It's the opposite way around. So that theory is going around. Once again, I have no idea if it's true or not, but it sounds pretty intriguing to me. And once again, the evidence kind of points to this PSA thing. Seems like it was extremely last minute with it not really showing up on the pricing page right away and all that jazz. And just the way they announced it was not normally how they do things. So that was a fun one. We'll leave it on that. I have day 2 to get to at New York City Comic Con. The one time I get I usually don't record ahead of time. The one time I record a bunch of videos early, so I don't have to record while I'm traveling, blows up in my face because all this stuff gets thrown up. So that's all I have for you guys and girls. We will catch you on the next one. Tomorrow, I pushed it back. I normally don't do a ton of Saturday video releases, but Spider-Man Metal ROI video with a SKU as a content creator in regards to, we do a deep dive on, how much I spent on opening boxes, how much I sold singles for, all that jazz, grading fees, what I made, with grading this stuff, and then also look at it from a content creator angle, how many videos I got out of it, how much revenue I made per video. All that stuff will be in that video tomorrow. So, assuming no other crazy news comes out. That's all I have for you guys and girls. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.